Hi, the TAKful Creator here. Okay, let's get started. May God the Creator bless us. May God the Redeemer heal us. May God the Holy Spirit enlighten us. Give us eyes to see, ears to hear, and hands to do the work of God. Sheesh. Feet to walk the path of justice and mouths to preach the good news. May the angel of peace, prosperity, love, abundance, grace, guidance, and judgment lead us to the reign of God. Oh, shit. Okay, so we're not talking about regular judgment. We're talking about divine judgment. Okay, so what we're doing here as members of the collective is offering the ethereal realm specific investigative information so that they can cause a ripple effect that will obviously manifest, create some kind of massive change in favor of the collective and in favor of those that the collective is using. So for example, if we're creating a narrative for court so that a jury of your peers and a judge can figure out who is right and wrong in the situation, how do you go about that? Well, first you have to come up with evidence. First you have to come up with certain characters, to develop a storyline, maybe motive, and produce some kind of inexplicable reason for why a court hearing even has to happen, right? Because if you know someone did it, there's, so many other measures that could eradicate the need for a trial. But here we're talking about a trial is necessary because there's certain information that hasn't been fully unearthed because of so much chaos and deception. So here we are being light beings, high vibrational beings who are offering a light, shining a light on a very shadowy part of a situation. Okay, so here someone has their head in the clouds, all right, and it has everything to do with this garage or tool shed. Now, what do we mean by that? We mean what you store in a garage or tool shed. Oftentimes it is old hand-me-downs, out of season information. I love how I'm doing a reading and then people want to stand specifically outside the car with a crying baby on the phone. It's very interesting, but that just means that this message needs to be heard, right? So someone has their head in the clouds because there has been a level of storage in a garage facility, or a level of storage maybe in their mind, right, of poor experiences, PTSD, trauma, a lot of negativity or low vibrational antics that weren't fully digested, weren't fully analyzed, and because of that, recompense, consequence, whatever comes after an action didn't happen because the action is not fully understood. So what we are called to do is to get this person's head out of the clouds, right? Bring them back to earth, give them a sense of grounding and understanding something about a best or favorite friend, right? Something about, better days are coming, no apologies, and closure and wounds. That's everything to do with storing bad memories away. Why? Because you didn't receive an apology. So you're just assuming the way to heal is to quote unquote let go. How do most people let go of it? They take it out of their normal place of storage, maybe in a living room, dining room, kitchen, whatever, and they go put it in the garage or attic. Okay, so not to say that you're putting a back door on something and eventually you're going to go back to it. Oftentimes when you put something in a garage or tool shed, by the time you get back to it, it's outdated. You're no longer going to be using this item or these items. So if you are putting something fully to rest, why store it? Okay, and maybe it's because whatever chaos that was there is still present somehow. Like it's maybe like an ongoing chaos. Yes, because of this brown. See, I was talking about brown grounding. It's in the reverse here. There's no grounding. The head has to be up in the clouds because once the person begins to, I guess, readjust to the dynamic of their life, they realize that the dynamic hasn't changed much because the participants are still present. Now, who are the participants? That's what we have to figure out. Okay, because right now we see that someone's head in the clouds is not a positive thing over here. We need to figure out how to bring them back. Okay, and then over here we have this magnetic attractive energy. And on both sides of the fence, manifestation and creation is at the forefront. Okay, so why? So we have this yellow energy, something about a secretary, administrator boy. So someone who likes to, maybe a youthful woman under 40, the color yellow, stargazing. Secretary that may have a boy in his teens, enjoys the color turquoise, or maybe in that transition phase of healing, right? Understanding what you need to heal and truly purging it, because they're removing themselves from this super emotional tie, right? This Pisces Scorpio. So it's either vengeful or excessively chaotic, and it all has to do with purging in emotions. Why? Because they have suicidal thoughts. They're not seeing things properly. Usually what we get by this dyslexia card is the signs and synchronicities and someone being able to tap into it. But with the suicidal ideations here, it really gives me like hallucinations. They're not seeing things right. Or maybe they are seeing things too clearly, and to others it seems like they're dyslexic. It seems like they're not making a whole bunch of sense. So the luck and vibrance of the yellow that's here doesn't even have the green to accommodate it. Okay, so that luck isn't there, that health isn't there. So what happens? A nap time. And then after this nap time, someone wanted complete autonomy and went back to being or seeming like a rebound energy, right? Because there's some kind of repeat offense here. So with a rebound, it's like when you go up for a layup and you don't get it, and then it bounces off, you get the ball back, it bounces off, you get the ball back, and everyone's just watching you like try to make this layup, and you're not putting the ball in the hole. It's like no one else is even defending now. It's just like, can you make the shot? That's what I'm getting by this repeat offense, right? Because this person honestly enjoys being in a daydream, but doesn't see how not adhering to the foundation, right? Not cleaning the laundry. You know how people say, don't air your dirty laundry. Well, this person is just accumulating dirty laundry. All right. And in this accumulation, they seem like a cheater. They seem like someone who's excessively impulsive and just wants to live their life carefree. They seem kind of attached, because we see baby, but we see blue. So blue is really like emotional and like a sensitivity, a tie, a calming or tranquil tie. And then we see the baby, where there's a sense of vulnerability and innocence there. So the baby blue connected to a Taurus, maybe they have maybe this Taurus seems like the rebound energy because of all the signs and synchronicities between this idea of what this individual is doing and then what this individual is actually doing. Okay, so it's so convoluted. That's why the cards are sitting like this in my hand. It's convoluted. Like, there's so many participants in this, and when you really think about it, there's only like 2 or 3 major factors, but there's so many additional energies that are tethered to these factors. So we know, for one, we have an Aquarius, and then we have a Taurus, and we have a Cancer. But since they're both on the same side, I'm getting that maybe this is one person shows up in a Taurus Cancer light. Yes, because of the signs and synchronicities, blocked chakras, criminal crime, lack of dopamine on an early Saturday, something going up in flames with an Aries. But then there's the serendipity, where government authorities will be involved. No more healing will really need to take place, because this beneficial partnership will be pleasing in the 3D, or is someone who enjoys people pleasing, maybe not on a low vibrational standard, but their nature is to offer themselves as a beacon to others. So in them doing this, it pleases others. So this is how they came they came off or they're coming off, and it could signal that there's some kind of pregnancy, right? That may remove some kind of royal status from the serendipity here. Now, why is it going to remove this royal status? Or seemingly remove this royal status? Okay? There's some... Okay, so now the quarrel fight over here. This energy is so convoluted. What is going on here? Someone wants someone to have some broken bones. Someone's broken or has broken bones. There's this emphasis on a car. It's like, if this car wasn't here, then would these games even be happening? Would this person even be playing around? And it's like, there's no more envious nature, because Capricorn, who normally is super meta, have their heads in the clouds, is being overturned. There's some kind of... The grounding is here. The seeing everything that, you know, as being right has gone, and now is decoding and understanding what is right and what is not right. Refining ourselves, refining our power as a collective. And why? Because there's playing over bad scenarios on repeat and needing to see how you can have that complete autonomy that we talk about, how you can have this complete autonomy over your own mind. So if these cycles are repeating, well, what in the cycle is causing it to repeat? At what point do you feel some sort of emotion? Maybe that's why the cycle is repeating. Understand and dive into that emotion. And it could be because these scenarios, in a sense, broke someone or broke multiple people. Had these people break down emotionally, or, you know, break down physically. But why? This was a divine encounter. In order for something to be rebuilt for the better, you have to break it down. I use this analogy sometimes when you are getting a new piece of land, and, you know, there's dilapidated buildings on that land, but you want to create something new and robust. You don't just say, okay, well, let's build around this. If there's no historical significance there legally, then you... But that's not necessarily the scenario we're talking about. If someone wants to go to the next level and transcend their own selves, right? Their own philosophies, their own genetic coding, they cannot accept the old being there, taking up space, being there, taking up energy, being there, requiring upkeep when you knew the upkeep for it wasn't feasible. That's the whole reason why you built new around it. Okay? So I'm getting here like this energy that's down here needs to break a certain bone, right? A connection that they felt like would be the end all be all. They need to break that bone officially, right? And I don't see that it has anything to do with this car stack. I see everything having to do with maybe a quarrel or fight with an Aquarius, right? This Aquarius tries to act like a character of the law. They try to have all their ducks in order, and in a way that kind of seems manipulative. But why do they have their ducks in order? It's because they have some undiagnosed ADHD. They can't really stick to one set thing. Like, if they're upset about something, they're upset about this, and then it reminds me of something else, upset about that, upset about that, and at the end of the day, it always turns into a quarrel fight, to where someone is being left out in the cold, or someone is being left where their heart is broken, and so they're in a sense homeless, because, you know, you find your home where your heart is. So like, I'm getting this Aquarius energy doesn't really have much love that they're expressing, at least in this reading. And that's mainly because they're weird and want to show up as good detective, bad detective, instead of showing up as a person, right? So there's something that happened on a late or mid Tuesday, and honestly, it just showed this Aquarius, or show the people around the Aquarius, that racism and bigotry is still prevalent today, right? So this Aquarius was definitely acting in a very racist and stereotypical way, prejudice way. And I'm gauging maybe it's because they're a little bit older in the generations, to where they can be a little bit more free with their verbiage, because of the time that they grew up in. I mean, nowadays everyone has a lot more sensitivities than the baby boomers did during their time, so they just say whatever is on their mind. So at the end of the day, the ancestors are there. The ancestors can trust whatever dynamic this Aquarius is not fully trusting. Okay? Something that having to do with deep brown skin. So if there's some kind of racism, it's racist against chocolate people, against cocoa people. And maybe this cocoa person moves in a Sagittarius light. So to them, they kind of fit the stereotype of maybe what a chocolate person would be, which is like very vocal, upfront, like in your face. But that's not because they're chocolate or African American. It's because they are Sagittarius. Like, it has to do with their astrology, but there's something about a front, side, or backyard, but we can also attribute this to being in nature in general. But if we're talking about someone's home and maybe someone stalking someone's home, looking into someone's home, peering into someone's life in a way that energetically they haven't given permission, well, that energy has been returned to sender. Okay, and because that energy has been returned to sender, there's some kind of begging for financial bliss in a way that's kind of deja vu, because they're begging for financial bliss from a twin flame connection. So it's like twin flame connection that is literally of perfection, main character energy. It's not being as private as maybe they used to be, with, I guess, some kind of petty competition. There is no competition if we're talking about a twin flame connection. So natural, maybe this person is natural, they enjoy purging emotions, giving birth to life. Like, I'm not really getting a physical birth, but that this twin flame connection is a true home. It allows Leo to no longer be in their negative or toxic Leo traits, which would be victim blaming or victimizing people, and instead they move to maybe emanating or being alongside a spiritual guide. Okay, this spiritual guide can see treachery and basicness from a mile away, and because we're ending on that note, and this is what we're beginning on, and it all has everything to do with this Aquarius, I'm guessing because of this, all this connection, treachery is happening from basic people because they see this royalty. So we ask why the royalty card is in reverse. The royalty card is in reverse because the energy that is pushing this twin flame connection to cease is the very energy that is also begging for finances, being a character of the law, and kind of acting like they're trustworthy. But the real trustworthy person is this Taurus. I'm pretty sure this Taurus is a part of this twin flame connection, right? Yeah, because they're the one that's chocolate or brown. So is this Aquarius chocolate or brown? What is? Oh, pendulum. Okay, let's see. Hi, Divine. Can you show me no? Thank you. Show me yes. Thank you. And now we're on the right track. Awesome. Are we on the wrong track at all? Let me see what it looks like if we're on the wrong track. Thank you. Okay, can you clear it? So then now we have this Taurus, right? So is this Taurus and Aquarius energy synonymous? No. Are they the same ethnicity? No. Okay, so then we have a Taurus that's most likely chocolate or cocoa, African American, and then you have this Aquarius who is just not that. Are they Chinese, Indian, Portuguese, with some kind of Spanish? Latina. Okay, so there was a reading about a lesbian Latina. Is that the Aquarius here? No, but I guess with this, the Latinas are making their way through the readings. So we have an Aquarius that's a Latina that is talking about leaving someone homeless or hopeless, and actually has a really big issue with black people. Now, I don't really know many Latinas that have an issue with black people that live around black people. Oh, really? Okay, so I stand corrected. Like, you can live with black people day in and day out and still have a problem with them? Okay, so that's how this Latina is. So I guess they're going to have to readapt to this Taurus energy kind of being in their life for some reason. And I think it has everything to do with the serendipity or bliss, because we talked about a connection to twin flame, which is usually of royal divine counterparts, but it's not being seen as that. Why? Well, this Aquarius is viewing this Taurus as maybe just a magnetic energy. It's their first day out. They don't really know what they're doing, and they're using maybe a card to manifest something to create something, but you can't really put a note on one specific thing. There's so many things that they believe that this Taurus is doing. It's just like, for one, they must think that this Taurus is all powerful because we have some connection to the lymphatic system. You can offer people tears or force people to cry, put people in their emotions. So I'm gauging more like this Aquarius energy is jealous. Okay, so maybe that's why we have the envy in reverse, because when you're jealous of someone, it's because they got something you didn't. It has nothing to do with being deserving. It has everything to do that you didn't get something that they did. When you envy someone, it's because you both did the same thing and someone else got more than you did. Okay? That's where that envy really comes into, because it's like, I really could have been there. Like, that could be me. Like, I did the work. I did what you did. Why did you? Like, and then because of the lack of understanding there, even though the evidence is there that you did the work, there's even more bitterness and scorn energy that's attached to it. Now this is even more toxic than jealousy is. Jealousy is usually lighthearted. It's like, oh, well, I want that. I'm going to go get it. Ha, now I have it. But envy is something a bit different, because if it was that easy for you to obtain whatever it is that you want to get and you're envious about, then you would have gotten it. And then we could call it jealousy. Okay, so that is the major difference here. So this Aquarius energy is not envious. They're jealous. They feel like they can so easily do the same thing that this energy is doing, this Taurus energy, but they're not realizing that being able to offer serendipity to a brokenness can only happen with divine input. And maybe this divine input can more easily happen with them because of some kind of autism or autisticness. And you know, this card really doesn't show up very often. I don't really get to talk to my peoples, but you know, it's really cool to see that, you know, the superpower of maybe not being as normal as everyone else is more abundant because of the connections that it's like networking, if that makes sense. Like, you come into this world, if you don't have many elements, it just means that you have to do a little bit more with networking with the divine, right? But if you come into this world with autism or ADHD or any other mental disorder, some kind of issue that will cause you to feel excessive pain at a young age, you are then building that bone with the spiritual, right, with divine. So there's something about a dining room and outsiders looking in, and the dining room can definitely be like the energy of, this is how our family shows up and this is how we interact with other people. Now, if that's the case and there's outsiders looking in, that means that there's a bit of judgment on how you're facilitating your family unit. But it would make sense if, you know, there was some kind of spiritual blindness on the Aquarius part. So they don't see all of this divineness. They just see a regular person walking in and causing, quote unquote, drama. But not realizing, like, the person walking into the situation is to ease the drama that will happen regardless. Okay? So pay attention to your psychic visions, but don't necessarily share them. Why? Because if you share them and it doesn't happen, you're going to end up owing people, because people are going to maneuver around your psychic abilities. Instead, you know, keep it to yourself, and then when things kind of look like they're about to transform, then give that notion to others that yes, you've had a little bit of foreshadowing. You can assist in whatever experience you're going to have. All right, but don't give too much foreshadowing, because they won't be gatekeeping. All right, and there's something about a Sunday, really good things are happening. There's going to be a divine collaboration, and this funeral service with some kind of elderly, and we talked about the baby boomers being that older generation that kind of is just outdated when we talk about communication, sensitivities, and work ethic. We have maybe a death to this elderly energy, kind of playing with the situation, you know, making maybe a twin connection slimy or like malleable when it should be strong and like a bone. You get what I'm saying? You know, this bipolar BPD, I talked about the disorders and ailments, right? And how I talked about disorders and ailments and how like they can assist you in this lifetime to connect with powers larger than you that can manifest in the reality easier and better than average people, right? So then we have the sense of bipolar BPD. So what's happening? This 100 acres and a mule, one day we're happy, one day we're not happy, one day you're giving enough, one day you're not giving enough. Is it this Aquarius energy? Yes. Okay, so they're coming from a standpoint that's completely unhealed. So no wonder they don't really have a true connection with the spiritual or the divine. So for them to be upset that this Taurus does, because they're doing the inner work, they're offering the lymphatic system to purge the emotions so that they can truly have a heart that is lighter than a feather. We get someone, this elderly person, wanting to put an end to this twin flame connection that is trustworthy. The ancestors are behind it. It requires purity and maybe seem like aggressive or verbal abuse. But the only reason why it seems like aggressive and verbal abuse is because we're removing this Aquarius energy from doing just that, offering the verbal abuse and aggressiveness to a situation that is divinely orchestrated. Okay, so the serendipity and bliss is going to require some kind of government authorities. That could be an official union. It doesn't necessarily have to be a marriage, because marriage comes with all of the additives of like parties, inviting people, presents, all of those like nitty gritty. But signing a marriage proposal, a marriage certificate rather, is it doesn't really take much. So that could be exactly what happens. It could be an overall contract. We're talking about beneficial partnerships with money or material. This could be like you're signing a contract at a new job, or a new place of work. I hate using the word job, because in the Bible it's the book of Job, and it's all it is lessons and consequences. So that's why as spiritualists we're called to remove ourselves from jobs and focus on work, focus on life purpose, focus on mission, because that is work. Jobs are not purpose. Jobs are not missions. So if you have a job and you're like, I'm doing my life purpose here. No, you're not. No, you're not. You can't use them synonymously. It's the same thing as using believe and know. No, you can't believe something and know it. You get what I'm saying? Like, all right. So let's figure out, is there anything else we need to know here before I go up on another tangent? No. So this is the end of the reading. Yes. Any hints and tips that we need? No. Just know that this is the chaos that is, and look at the board. Like, it's literally chaos. This is the chaos that is emanating behind this beneficial partnership. Okay, so maybe you wake up and you're just like, today's a new day, everything's awesome, everything's amazing, and then look at this catastrophe that's happening in the background with this Cancer energy, being upset that this Leo has removed some kind of self-destructive nature and it's going to a friendly acquaintance that they've been alerted about, and maybe receiving some kind of exercise or doing some kind of exercise. And that exercise could be giving a lot of love, offering health and counsel, maybe after hours, or harnessing the moonlight energy to create a romantic feel, like going outdoors, beachside, or going for a romantic walk, or going out at night, going for a picnic, or playing sports. And there's an alert to that, because if this person is playing a lot of sports and they have an infant born soon, they have to be weary. So listen to music messages about how this Resurrection Sunday even happened. Okay, because around Easter, I think this infant or newborn is going to, the irony of it, is going to make its appearance. So I don't know, if we talk about the Bible and how Jesus was resurrected, it's kind of like someone has left someone's life completely and then returned a few days later, better, brighter, maybe pregnant with a baby. Like it's like, okay, there was a removal for only a short period of time, and now that they're back, it's like full throttle. Like, get ready, royalty's happening. It's happening with this upright Taurus energy, who's going to come off like a mom. Okay, now we see why this Cancer is attached to the Taurus. It's going to come off like a mom, right? Because you're probably going to be a mom. It's going to require a lot of grounding. Maybe that's why the heads are in the clouds right now. Okay, so on that note, I will really leave it. Baby blues. We're talking about a baby, signs and synchronicities. Uh-oh. So someone who has a lack of dopamine because of this baby blue energy may try to commit a criminal crime. I'm guessing that that is this Aquarius energy. Well, just know that you are divinely protected because this is a divine union. And we're going to establish some judgment on the Aquarius part. And I don't know what that judgment is. I just, based on the reading, we establish judgment. The universe is taking whatever evidence we've offered here and is using it for the divine trial to see what consequences or recompense is necessary after someone wanting complete autonomy, compliance, or control over two energies that are supposed to be in divine union. Okay? So on that note, I will see you soon. Until the next.